Good morning, friends, and happy Thursday! I don't know if you know this, but on Thursdays I teach a dance class, and I always teach it before I get to my YouTube video. And so if I'm ever looking a little sweaty and red, you know why, because I just had a dance class this morning. If you go to my school, you know that I teach the hip hop kids dance fitness on Fridays after school. And I'm doing the same thing on Thursday mornings while we're on quarantine. And so it kind of just makes a full Thursday morning for me. But I love it because I dance with some of my hip hop kids who are from Oak Heights. And I make some new friends too. Anyway, I'm just getting off track all over the place. I guess I'm feeling in one of those kinds of moods today. A Mrs. Littlejohn mood today, where I'm all energetic and buzzing and all excited about teaching you about inferences. Oh my gosh! Can you tell how I'm feeling about it? So excited to teach you inferencing. Inferencing is one of those skills that when you read in books, it makes the books way better. Why don't I get to the point of it? Oh, Fred, Fred is a girl, and apparently she thinks she's pretty important. Because every time I'm teaching you guys or dancing or anything on video, she's like, hey, what's up? I gotta be in here. I'm famous. Look at me. Look how cute I am. Oh, she got embarrassed and she walked away now. Okay, anyway, let me get back. Mrs. Littlejohn, zip it. Turn your mind on the appropriate thing that we're talking about. And let's get to work, shall we? Because it's almost 2 minutes into this video and I haven't even gotten to the point yet. So today we're going to talk about making inferences, and we are going to continue this book, Galaxy Zack. I know it says Alana on here. That's just because I wrote some notes and her name happened to be at the top and I use it as a bookmark. But we're going to read Galaxy Zack, and we're actually going to do some infering with Galaxy Zack today. So making inferences, and I made this handy dandy little graphic here. Clues from the text. Text just means the book. So these are clues from the book plus, see that plus sign? This is like a math equation during reading. I know, I'm blowing your mind, right? So clues from the text plus what I know equals inferences. And so you read the book and you see what the author says, and then you think about it and you're like, oh my gosh, I've been to a grocery store before, so I know what a store looks like. Because if you had never been to a grocery store, and a grocery store is where you buy fruits, vegetables, foods, toilet paper. I'm sure you've heard about toilet paper lately. Where you buy all that stuff. But if you had never been to a grocery store, like if you lived in the way olden days, or if you lived somewhere where you had to grow your own food or whatever, you'd be like, grocery store, what's that? And then you know something else? Grocery stores are different in different countries. Like when I went to England when I was 14 years old, I was like, this grocery store is weird. They don't have any of the same things that we do. And so it was a whole new experience. And so my schema, my understanding, what I knew was different than what their grocery store was. And so you take what's in the book, what you know, and that's what an inference is. It's kind of like reading extra stuff. And I'm going to get a little bit deeper into what an inference is right now. Because you probably noticed I have 2 anchor charts today. Oh, yeah, super prepared, Mrs. Littlejohn. Bueno. All right, when you make an inference, you go beyond the author's words to understand what is not said in the text. Sometimes I call it reading between the lines. So you're getting all kinds of ideas and clues from it, and you pick up all kinds of things, but the author didn't tell you. You're just that smart. Because you think about stuff and you know stuff and you've lived life and you have background knowledge and you know what things are like. And so then when the author says something, you're like, oh yeah, I know what that's like. Or, ooh, I bet they're gonna. So sometimes it means that you're guessing about what's going to happen, or you're guessing how somebody's feeling. So I infer by thinking about the setting and why it's important. So the setting in Galaxy Zack is he is moving from planet Earth to planet Nebulon, if you remember correctly. And so we can infer, ooh, he's moving to a new place. How might he feel? The setting's pretty important in this story. Thinking about my personal experiences. If you've moved before, what was that like? And what happened when you moved? How did you feel about it? How was that experience for you? Thinking about the character's actions. And so that's like, what are they doing to tell you things? Maybe the author didn't tell you that they were going to go do something in particular, like Zach got out his toothbrush and toothpaste. So we can infer that he's about to brush his teeth, right? Thinking about the plot and why certain things happen. And so that's kind of like making guesses for what you think is going to happen in the future based on what's happened in the story. The plot is just what happens in the story. Thinking about what the character says. Thinking about the character's feelings. And thinking about the character's actions. I think I already said that one. So that's where we're starting with inference. And I have a couple little practice pieces that you can use to start your inferencing. And I know that the lighting is weird, that you can't particularly see those, but hopefully you kind of remember what they were saying. So, dun, 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 dun. My kids found these in the kitchen the other day, and they're like, I can totally tell my mom's a teacher that we have stuff like this sitting around. And I'm like, that's right, that's right. So the fact that I'm doing that, what do you think I think about being a teacher? It's rad. That's what I'm thinking. All right, so you're going to guess, you're going to infer what is happening in this story. This is like a little tiny, brief little snippet. Alice and her grandma wanted to make a project. I'm inferring that they're crafty. First, they shopped for 9 different pieces of fabric. At home, they cut the material into many small squares and pinned them all together to form one large rectangle. So their actions are telling me some pretty important clues. Alice's grandma sewed the squares together with thick thread. Alice helped attach one large piece of fabric on the back. Then Alice and her grandma sewed on little ribbons and the project was complete. They placed the masterpiece on Alice's bed. Do you know what they made? Each night before Alice goes to sleep, she thinks of the nice memory of helping her grandma complete the project. What did Alice and her grandma make? How do you know? So think about that for a second. I think that you don't have to think about it for very long. You probably know exactly what it was. Your grandma might do this, your mom might do this, you might do this. I've done this before. Take fabric, cut it up into little pieces and sew it back together in little fancy designs, and it's called making a quilt. How many of you got that? Give me a thumbs up if you got it. Nice. Okay, next one. This next one, the question is, who is telling the story? And then, how do you know? What's the evidence from the text? It tells you. As soon as I saw that shiny new bike in the store, I had to have it. How would I be able to afford to buy it? As I was walking home kicking the fallen leaves, I had an idea. I asked my neighbors if I could rake the leaves in their yards for money. 6 of them agreed to hire me. As I was raking up my first yard, I decided to name my new business Leo's Leaf Removal Service. That way, everyone would know who I was. So remember, we're trying to figure out who is telling the story. I raked 2 yards a day, and my neighbors were so happy. After I finished those 6 yards, word got around, and I soon had a list of yards to rake. I only have 10 more yards to rake, and that bike is all mine. So right here it says my new business's name is Leo's Leaf Removal Service. So right there we learn that his name is Leo. Yeah. And we know that because he named his business Leo's Leaf Removal Service. That's the evidence in the text that tells us that. I have one more, and then we'll get to Zach. Henry and his dad got in the long line to buy tickets. Ooh, we're going to try to figure out where are Henry and his dad. After they got their tickets, they went inside to find their seats. Henry found their section, and they walked down the steps to their seats. The 2 teams were already warming up on the ice. The lights dimmed, and the crowd roared. Henry and his dad cheered too. The game began. Henry watched the players skate and pass the puck with their sticks. His dad cheered when their team made a goal, and the crowd slapped each other high fives. After 3 periods, their team won. Henry and his dad had fun at the game. So where were Henry and his dad? If you said at a hockey game, you're right. If you didn't say at a hockey game, maybe you've never been to a hockey game or seen one on TV. The reason I knew it was a hockey game is because they bought tickets and went inside to find their seats. So I knew that they were at a game because they were finding their seats, and the 2 teams were already warming up on the ice. I know that hockey is played on the ice, so that was the clue that I needed. Henry and his dad cheered. The game began, so I knew that they were watching a game because it said the game began. They watched the players skate and pass the puck with their sticks. I know hockey is played with puck and sticks. And I also know that hockey has 3 periods. So there's a lot of clues in there that tell me that they went to see a game of hockey. All right. Let's read Galaxy Zack. And when we're reading this, we're going to try to figure out what is the story trying to tell us. And real quick before I start, I'm going to blow my nose. I'm so sorry. I know, gross. So you can infer that I was apologizing because I'm embarrassed I have to wipe my nose on camera. That's a pretty good inference that you can get. Okay, chapter 2, buggy pizza. Yuck, I'm not into buggy pizza. You'll love it on Nebulon, Captain, Dad said. Wait till you see the gadgets they have there. They're way ahead of Earth. That sounds pretty cool, Zack said. Then he grew quiet. Dad's got his great new job at Nebulonics, Zack thought. Last time we read this, we were looking at quotation marks and what they'd said instead of the word said. So this one time he said, Zack thought, Mom wants to start her own business, and the twins always have each other. They don't have to worry about making new friends. Zack leaned back in his seat and closed his eyes. Okay, class, time for a Zerbinese language lesson, said someone with a strange, I should read that in a strange high-pitched voice. Okay, class, time for a Zerbinese language lesson, said someone with a strange high-pitched voice. Zack's eyes popped open. He was in a classroom on Nebulon. All his classmates looked like monsters. And slimy creatures with dripping tentacles sat all around him. The teacher looked like a giant 2-headed snake. Zack dashed from the classroom and ran across the street. He hurried toward a huge sign that flashed the words, "This galaxy's best pizza." Zack loved pizza. Oh, pizza, he said. It was his favorite food. At least they have something that I know on this wacky, crazy planet. Zack rushed into the pizza place and ordered a whole pie. I'll have today's special pizza, please. Soon a steaming pizza floated down. Okay, take a look at this pizza. Tell me, do you want that pizza? I would say no, thank you. No, thank you very much. Yeah! Yelled Zack. The pizza was covered with slithering worms and crawling insects. It was topped with extra moldy cheese. Ugh. Zack ran as fast as he could from the pizza place. He pulled out his video chat hyperphone. Then he quickly entered Bert's Z-mail address. Gotta talk to Bert, Zack mumbled to himself. Maybe he can help me. The screen on the hyperphone blinked. Then a message popped up. Error. Cannot connect to Earth. No! Cried Zack as he shoved the hyperphone back into his pocket. I'm trapped here, and I'll never see or talk to my friends again. Zack felt a hand on his shoulder. Then he heard a familiar voice. Zack? Zack, are you okay? Zack's eyes sprang open. He was looking up at his mom. They were still in the space cruiser on their way to Nebulon. Bad dream, honey? Asked Mom, smoothing back Zack's thick blonde hair. I guess so, Zack replied, rubbing his eyes. A green light below the cruiser's front window began blinking. Arrival on Nebulon in 5 minutes, said the cruiser's talking computer. This is so exciting, Mom said as she sat back down in her seat. Don't worry, Zack. This is going to be a great adventure. Arriving on Nebulon in 1 minute. Please prepare for landing, said the cruiser's robotic voice. This is it, gang, announced Dad. He was hardly able to contain his excitement. Zack checked his safety belt. He pressed his face to the window. His eyes opened wide as the planet below got closer and closer. Through thin pink clouds, Zack saw purple patches of land and large orange oceans. Nebulon looked nothing like Earth. Okay, there's that picture again so you can see that. All right, my inference today. Yeah, another chart. I know you're so excited to do this. My inference is that you are excited to do this and that you're excited to be here with me, and I appreciate that. But my inference about Zach is Zach. Let me make sure I'm spelling this right. Zach is worried about all the differences between Earth and, ooh, I hope I can fix this, fit this, Nebulon. Okay, so he's nervous about that. Would you agree with that he's nervous? Okay. If you said yes, start thinking about some things that you read in that text that told you that. He had a bad dream. When I have bad dreams, usually it's because there are scary things in my life. So I'm going to write bad dream. What were the things that happened in that dream that kind of made him nervous? First of all, he had weird looking classmates. There's nothing wrong with having weird looking classmates, but everything was different on Nebulon, right? Including bug / worm pizza. Buggy wormy pizza was in his dream too. Do you remember some other things that happened in that? Do you remember what the planet looked like as he was landing? Everything looked different. I also noticed that the mom and dad were both so excited. And they kept telling Zach that everything was going to be okay. Did you notice that? So I'm going to write just M and D for mom and dad. M and D telling Z everything